Jai Radha Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Radha Jai Jagannath Jai Jagannath Jai Baladev Mai Subhadra Jai Jagannath Jai Jagannath Jai Baladev Jai Subhadra Jaya Srinatha Jai Bhagavatam Jaya Srinatha Jai Govardhan Jaya Srinatha Jaya Bhagavatam Jaya Srinatha Jaya Govardhan Jaya Gaurani Jai Jai Gaurani Jai Jai Gaurani Jai Jai Gaurani Jai Jaya Gaurani Jai Jaya Gaurani Jai Jaya Gaurani Jai Jaya Gaurani Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Stodra Satashi Shimar Divine Grace, Founder Viskana Bhai Charanadavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam Ki, Their Most Merciful Lordship Shri Radha Kunja Bihari Ki, Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Mai Subhadra Ki, Shri Nathaji Shri Balagopal Ki, Shri Shrivarnitai Ki, Nitai Go Prem. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the Lord and Spirit of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Nayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtaki. Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 45. Tam Badham Iti Upamantya Tam Badham Iti Upamantriya Pravishya Gajasavayam Pravishya Gajasavayam Striyas Cha Swa Puram Yasyam Striyas Cha Swa Puram Yasyam Premna Rajna Nivarita Premna Rajna Nivarita Tam Badhamiti Upamantira Pravishya Gajasavayam Striyascha Swapuram Yasyan Premna Rajna Nivarita Tam Badham Ityupamantriya Pravishya Gajasavayam Striyascha Swapuram Yasyan Premna Rajna Nivarita. Please chant.
Tam badham iti upamantriya.
Tam badham iti upamantriya.
Pravishya gajasavayam.
Pravishya gajasavayam.
Striyascha swapuram yasyan.
Striyascha swapuram yasyan. Premna Rajna Nivarita. Tam badhamiti upamantriya. Pravishya gajasavayam. Striyascha swapuram yasyan. Premna Rajna Nivarita. Tam, all those. Badham, accepted. Iti, thus. Upamantriya, subsequently informed. Pravishya, entering. Gajasavayam, the palace of Hastinapur. Striyacha, other ladies. Svapuram, own residence. Yasyan, while starting for. Premna, with love. Rajna, by the king. Nivarita, stopped. Tam badhamiti upamantriya pravishya gajasavayam. Striyascha swapuram yasyam. Premna Rajna Nivarita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of Acharnananda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thus accepting the prayers of Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of His departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, He was stopped by King Yudhisthira, who implored Him lovingly. Please repeat. Thus, accepting the prayers of Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of His departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, He was stopped by King Yudhisthira, who implored Him lovingly. Thus, accepting the prayers of Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of His departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, He was stopped by King Yudhisthira, who implored Him lovingly. Purport by His Divine Grace of Acharnananda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thus, accepting the prayers of Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of His departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, He was stopped by King Yudhisthira, who implored Him lovingly. No one could make Lord Krishna stay at Hastinapur when he decided to start for Dwarka. But the simple request of King Yudhisthira that the Lord remain there for a few days more was immediately effective. This signifies that the power of King Yudhisthira was loving affection, which the Lord could not deny. The Almighty God is thus conquered only by loving service and nothing else. He's fully independent in all his dealings, but he voluntarily accepts obligations by the loving affection of his pure devotees. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshusmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. This experience of love that is being revealed here, that is the moving force of Krishna. God being the source of all love, so then when he sees us manifesting this love for him, then he becomes moved by that. So in effect, Srila Prabhupada says many times that we can control God by love. And so we see that Krishna responds favorably to those that approach him lovingly. And generally that is expressed in a way so as to reveal not only their own selfish desire to want to have Krishna's association, but for the benefit of all who will also gain the association. It is said that even 1/64th of a second, the association of a pure devotee can liberate one from the power of the control of the karma in this universe that keeps us bound to this planet. So what to speak, if that's true with a pure devotee, then what do we say about Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, now who is accepting the invitation? And this is what we are doing when we recite Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya before chanting Shrimadbhagavatam. We were asking Krishna to be with us and to give us the understanding from this that we need, because divine knowledge is more than what meets the eye generally. And as we've been taught in school, certain ways to, and we've learned through our own application and our reading abilities, to gather from what is being written in somewhat of a studious form, to concentrate our minds on the subject matter and to absorb that which is being given. But see, normally in school they don't give to you the realization that this that is being given about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is about the same person that is sharing this body with us.
Right.
So then, as we are reading, he himself can give us quickening understanding about the more deep realizations that can be gained from realizing the kind of relationship these souls have with Krishna. We have familial friendships, and we have friendships that we have developed with one another because of love of God. And these are, because of the environment we are in, these are little bits and pieces of the kind of association we would get from Krishna himself personally. So the development of our purity helps people understand the particular kind of presence that Krishna brings when he is in the presence, giving his own darshan to others. Because he holds everything in his hands. He holds all power. He is in control of everything that controls the entire universe. And so to come into his presence then, the soul can realize the tremendous privilege it is to be in the presence of the one who is controlling everything and has the ability to make any changes to anything. But with realization that everything is already perfect, the devotee, finding in Krishna's presence that total satisfaction, that the devotee doesn't want anything else. He finds in Krishna that which... See, this is why, too, significance is put upon the name of God. If I call you, you're in a crowd of people, and I call you out by another name, you're not going to recognize my calling. You're not even going to think I'm talking to you. And this is what is happening as well. In the world, people are calling one another by names that do not even apply to who they are. That's why the spiritual master gives us names according to what he sees our relationship with God to be. Okay. So at birth, if our parents are not self-realized, and what to speak, the child is coming out with no activity having been done in this world whatsoever to recognize what qualities he has, or they have, or she has. So the spiritual master recognizes, and the name that the spiritual master gives us helps us in the process of becoming self-realized. Because the only concept we would have of ourselves without the spiritual master acknowledging who we are, we would be limited to the amount of activities we have performed in this world, giving ourselves the credit for having made the name that we were given. So our fame then develops around what our parents named us, not because of any qualities we had, but because of what was favorable in their minds to name us. If the spiritual master gives us a name, we can meditate upon the meaning of, to gain realization of the quality of the soul, which we really are. Because we're thinking we're these bodies, and our parents are thinking we're these bodies. So they are naming us according to the qualities that they want to see in us, or simply the sound of the name to their ears is generally what parents choose the name to be, isn't it? The child is in the womb, and they're discussing names to name the child. But see, the process Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, I am that sex life in marriage that is partaken of according to regulative principles. And so there is a deep meaning to this now. And this comes from realization of super soul and from prayer. I get this from other than just what the books are saying in the words. I get this from association with Krishna. We have association with Krishna through his name. And realization comes to us through chanting his name. So this is how we do have association with Krishna, but we get that through the spiritual master connecting us by naming us. So, see, this relationship that we are seeing that Krishna is having with these souls, he is revealing the kind of relationship because they came from the spiritual realm as well. Now, some of these came from the heavenly planets. Yudhisthira himself was from the heavenly planets. Srimati Radharani is from the spiritual world. So we see both relationships and how much deeper those that came with him from the spiritual world are. and how much he is able to give more confidential, the most confidential knowledge to those who have come from the spiritual world. They're already full of that knowledge. So, this process, if we don't see it for what it really is, we won't get the full value of it. And it is eternally established from before the foundation of this universe. The process of communicating with Krishna is already there, right? I mean, the material world is not responsible for bringing relationship with Krishna into existence. Relationship with Krishna has always been there. And we had that before the universe came into existence. We had that. And then we came into the universe. So, memory of that relationship and reestablishing now anew as well, because now you may have affection for your mother and father, right? And as you're brought up as a child and you grow up in the home, you develop attachment for your parents. But it's not until you grow up and you go away from home that you start an attachment and a longing to see them again when you've been away from home for quite some time, especially. And if you are on a purpose that your mother and father also, let's say you go to war, right? Your mother and father also having that same feeling towards you, but knowing your purpose and why you are choosing to go, because that purpose is of such a higher nature, then that longing increases every day. So this is what's been happening with us away from Krishna. The longer we stay away from Krishna, the greater that longing to be fulfilled in perfection gets. People get at the end of their life and they get so frustrated of trying to find satisfaction in this world and not. They get frustrated so that they want to end it all. But ending it all means ending the means that they have now of being able to find that fulfillment. But you can imagine how frustrating it is for people who don't have the means to be able to get out and go find friends or somebody that can connect them to God. And there are those out there just waiting for us to bring them the truth. The Bhagavad Gita, Shrimadbhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. They're just waiting for us. And the urgency needs to be in our hearts. Because now Krishna has relieved us to give us the satisfaction of knowing now we don't have to suffer in the future for all the sinful activities we've engaged in. Now that we are engaged in Krishna consciousness now, our future has nothing but positive to look forward to. But how many souls in this world have no such future to see? They have no hope. They believe there's no God. They can see no future beyond death even, also, which is very overpowering. People are living in fear. Same way animals are living in fear of dying. And it pushes them to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. And see, for the most part, people acting out of the desire to satisfy the physical senses, it's not a human platform even. Satisfying the senses of our body is animalistic. And so that's why when every human being that's supposed to be engaging in something else is engaging in a different activity than he was made for. And we're made for. And that's why we have so much chaos in the world. We're living for ourselves.
For our false ego.
Yeah, for our false ego.
Right, our false self.
And our desires. I want this, I want that. So I'm going to go out and do what I can to get that. And this is causing the chaos because none of it is in harmony with what the divine wants. And as long as we develop desires separate from the Supreme, we're going to have experiences of chaos and confusion. If you're in the middle of a forest and you don't know which way to go, every act, every step you take can take you farther away if you don't know which way is the way home. So we have to know what the way home is. And Krishna leaves no questions unanswered. If you ask a Christian, what are the activities that God wants us to engage in? You think you're going to have a definite answer for that? Is there such a concept of devotional service in Christianity? Or in Buddhism? Or in Islam? Or in the Latter-day Saints? Mormons?
Yeah, they have one.
They have.
Yeah, right.
And that you can say more than likely comes from us, their connection with us. You know why? Because concepts that we hold as truth, apart from Christianity, which they themselves are crediting themselves with being part of Christianity, they're promoting Christian teachings. But they accept that because they have the concept of Brahma being the creator, and they see that concept shared by us, and they share the concept of reincarnation as well. And they share the concept of vegetarianism with us, which we really don't have the concept of vegetarianism. Because because you can be a vegetarian and still have to pay back the lives that are being given up for you to continue your existence. The foods that are growing in the field are all coming forth from souls. And so that a soul gives, we become indebted to. So these souls that are giving us the means to continue our existence here, this indebtedness we have is the law set to keep us entangled in this world. Because we originally desired to come into this world. Now what we got to do, turn that desire around and do everything now we can to get out. And if we know, Krishna is giving us the knowledge of how to do that. Sometimes confirmations are made by Krishna himself. He can throw a garland. He threw a garland. Who was it? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, I think it was. The Rath Yatra cart came right to his house. And when they brought him out, Lord Jagannath threw his garland right on him.
Wow.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. At a very young age, he might have been about 5 years old. Baby, yeah. Krishna knows in advance that we're coming. Krishna knows what our name was when we knew him. Krishna knows what he's going to give the spiritual master the name to give us. And Krishna knows how truly we are going to take to heart the following of his precepts. And he has in store for us something greater than we can imagine in our minds, in our greatest imaginations. After this life, as long as we stay on this path and continue promoting his ideas to fill other living entities' minds with, to bring them the freedom that human beings are meant to experience. This form of humanity is supposed to be the highest experience possible on this planet. But we limit ourselves by trying to fulfill our own desires rather than trying to fulfill the desires of the Supreme. It seems to the mind that satisfying the self is an aim for humanity to go and make a goal. But that leaves out the truth that the soul in its original state is self-satisfied. The soul being made of a substance can't be destroyed. It is the real you. And it is all part and parcel of the Supreme Person who is not ever lacking anything. In that plate, we don't need to eat. You don't need to drink. You don't need anything. Think about that. That's what the spiritual world is. It's self-sustaining. And every soul takes on that. Every soul that gains entrance to that place takes on that same quality as Krishna himself is. That nature of eternalness. We have no idea in our minds what that is like. But now we're on the path to get there. So, see what we are to those in the world. This whole material world is like a big well. And sometimes inside the well, somehow or other, frogs manage to jump in. And after they produce offspring, those offspring only know the well. And so when a frog jumps in the well from outside who has seen the ocean, and he begins explaining what the ocean is like, most of the frogs have never seen it, they can't believe it. Right? This is what we are like to people outside in the material world. We've seen, because Krishna has opened our inner eye to the reality of the universe, the reality of what he is promising us, and we get tastes here and there of what the spiritual world is like, and is so much greater that keeps us chanting. This chanting has been going on since time immemorial, and there's a reason for it. Because it gives the human being the experience he's longing for. We're longing for that eternal substance, to know it, to taste it, to feel it, to be it, and to understand it. And that's what Krishna consciousness is offering us. And all we have to do is stay on this glorious path of singing, dancing, eating foodstuffs that have been prepared with loving devotion by devotees who have no other desire than to please Krishna. And we have that great privilege of being able to have the association of the most pure souls on the planet. Everyone that's developing this desire to stay in Krishna consciousness, they're pure souls. You're pure. As long as you're in this movement and wanting to continue with the process, that's as pure as we have the ability to become. And Krishna will give us more ability as we press on to use the ability he has given us to this point. So ability is also unlimited, but we're experiencing the ability we have developed to this point because of the limitations we put upon ourselves. But Krishna is unlimited, and he can do unlimited things through us just the same way that he did through Srila Prabhupada. Now, in our effort, it's the same Krishna, the same, no, actually, it's not the same energy, because this energy is increasing.
Why? Oh, because of...
Krishna's energy is constantly increasing. And see, this effort that we are making to promote Krishna consciousness is its increase, as well as what Krishna is doing. So we are part of Krishna's effort. If we take part in what Krishna is doing, we're helping Krishna. And he wants as much help as he can get also, just like we do. When we take an effort to do something, we want to get as much help as we can. So Krishna has a purpose for everything that he does. And in joining that purpose with him, then we become as much a part of him. And that purpose becomes as much a part of our purpose as it is his purpose. And in that way, this is really becoming one with God. Not that we can become God and then judge everybody else and send everybody to hell if we want to because they're our enemies. No. But that we share the same purpose because God's purpose is, in fact, the highest, ultimate result mankind can ever desire to be able to achieve. And all we got to do is surrender. God, before coming to Krishna consciousness, the idea in my mind of what retirement would be, you just look around at who is retired. 90% of the people retiring by the time they reach 70, 80 years old, they're in a nursing home. Isn't it? Can't take care of themselves. They have a doctor or nurse caring for them. And then if they don't, then they have a house. They live in a house, but they got to cook for themselves every meal. Emergencies happen in the house. You got to take care of yourself. Then the dependence that the soul has put upon itself to believe that itself has the ability to provide itself everything it needs, then it gets stuck in that situation at the end of life. And nobody to help. Many people are left alone. And they die in their homes 4 or 5 days, sometimes a week, 2 weeks, a month later before people even find out they're dead. Without association, the soul needs association. Krishna himself is never alone. Can you imagine that? You will never see an authorized picture of Krishna alone. You might see him with a peacock or a cow or a calf or something like that, a deer. But he's never alone. So too, devotees who are working for the cause of Krishna consciousness are always sharing association with each other. And I cook 1 meal a day, but I eat 3 meals a day. And I've been doing that for 20 years. So I don't have to go out to a restaurant either and do that. And I don't have to pay out of my pocket to have a meal either. I don't have to go grocery shopping if I don't want to.
And it's so good.
Life is easy. I'm eating from the best cooks in the world.
Right.
Which these millionaires can't even brag about doing because the food they're getting is going to make them stay here even longer. And the food I'm getting is going to give me the means of getting out of here altogether to that eternal dwelling. We are fortunate souls. We're the richest. We're the wealthiest. We have found the treasure of life. Krishna is the real treasure of life to be found. Ultimately, the absolute truth, the perfection of everything, Krishna. God. The small purport, I can make it a small class, short class. Because there's so much. It's a concentrated energy that's there. When I went to visit with these Hopis, I told you about, I went to visit. When I left them, they gave me a little wheat cake. It was only about this big. And I ate it, bits and pieces here and there. When you're traveling on the road, you take what you can get, I'm telling you, the energy that came out of the thing lasted me 3 days. It was like only a little cake like this. But see, they too, having a connection from the beginning. And Christians, quote unquote, so-called coming, couldn't recognize them. That's what the Book of Mormon is all about. The Christian people that were on this continent before the Europeans came here had direct influenced by the person they call Jesus Christ on this continent. That's what the Book of Mormon reveals. And so what happened when the Europeans came here and killed them, wiped them all out?
Yeah.
Why? You've seen one, you've seen them all. That's the idea in the mind of a prejudiced person. A prejudiced person, he goes out, he has an experience in the world with one person and has a particular appearance. So now everybody that has that appearance in his mind, everybody's the same way. And that's how we judge each other based by our experiences that we have with one another. But each and every single soul is a unique individual. This is why it's somewhat detrimental to our spiritual advancement to think of ourselves as something other than what we really are. So see, even our professions in this world that we make ourselves out to believe we want to perform without knowledge. Before we come to Krishna consciousness, we can have so many ideas about what we think of as a perfect life. And for the most part, in most people's minds, as long as that provides them enough money at the end of life to be comfortable, they wouldn't care. As long as they got a bank account at 65, 70 years old, it will take them to the rest of their life. But leaving out the eternalness of the soul and the very quality of the soul needed for a person to make the proper decisions about what they want to do with their life, to develop the kind of consciousness we need to get back into that eternal realm. It's not learning how to cut wood. It's not learning how to fish. It's learning how to develop that consciousness of love that will take us beyond this body. And it wasn't love that got us into this body. It was our desire to separately enjoy. So now we've got to turn that, like Mother Kunti Devi is revealing to us, to develop that same relationship. And Yudhishthira as well, he's saying here, Krishna, please give us a few more days. Stay with us a little bit longer. And so that's what we have to give. That Krishna is giving to those that he is showing love to, we have to give to those that we otherwise would have no care for. And the more we make that endeavor, the more Krishna will reciprocate with us to reveal to us the nature of true love. We have to realize we got to learn what love is in order to be filled with that love. And that means we have to take extra steps out of our life to go the way that we wouldn't ordinarily go. Love is a demanding force. It can be if we surrender to it. But demanding doesn't necessarily mean forcing against our will. But when we do come to know what is required of us, we do have to sometimes push ourselves, get up in the morning, to shave the head at the proper time, to cut our nails, to take that shower 2-3 times a day when necessary. It's a bit of a push, but then once we push for years enough, it becomes normal. We change what we thought was normal in our minds, and then that mind starts functioning with real normalcy. And then people become attracted to that quality that we're revealing, because those are the qualities that are in the spiritual world that people have developed, those qualities of love. And that is what is pulling us back to Krishna, back to God, because it is his love for us that's pulling us. And his love is unlike any other kind of love. His is the example that we are being given to see what force love is. And Krishna, he takes care and reveals and magnifies the little things that sometimes we overlook. And he reveals how love can take the little things and make them glorious. One little soul. See, every one of us, I was looking today, cutting up a pepper. And on the inside of the pepper is this big round ball, and there's probably 50 seeds in there. And every one of those seeds is a soul, containing a soul. And I've been in that form. How much effort was required of God's energy to go from that form all the way up to this state now? You think God wants that wasted now? Yet, people are doing just that. Taking the very long time. It took how many millions of years would it have taken for us to go from being spoken out of God's mouth into Brahma's body, from Brahma's body into Manu, from Manu into other living entities that have the ability to reproduce and require another living being. So it has been a long process to get us to this stage. If we don't stay on the path, we will have wasted the entirety of that existence we have gained to this point to get this far. So now, the easiest part is to come. The hard part is over. To get to human being is the difficult step, but now we've made it there. Now it's the easiest part is getting to the end from here. So it's just abiding and using this body for what it was made for. That's all we got to do. And in doing that, experience the glorious experience and the treasure of the communication with and the love of the Supreme Person. Every day revealing to you how much he cares about you, how much he wants to bring you back to the ultimate, most glorious destination there is to be experienced by any living being. That's what the spiritual world is. And it's unlimited. And you have to be special in order for him to be calling you there. And you wouldn't be here in this class if he wasn't. Yeah. You're very, very special in the eyes of God. For God to have come to this place, the hellish place of the universe, to call us out and to bring us out from it. It's like for him jumping into a mud puddle, basically.
Like who jumping in the mud puddle?
Jumping in the mud puddle. The material universe where there is death. There's no such thing where Krishna is. Walking on ground is so foreign to Krishna. When he puts his foot on the ground, he's like wanting to make sure he's not going to fall over, because that act of walking on the ground, requiring something to hold him up, he's not accustomed to that when he comes to this world, because the spiritual world is so different from that. So we got 10 minutes before 9. We could leave it open for questions. Any comments, any questions, any realization? Anybody would like to share? Is everybody having the most glorious experience of life that they've had till now in Krishna consciousness? I don't know anything greater than every experience I'm having day by day is like a progress it's getting better and better for me.
Every day is a new experience.
Yeah. And I go out, you know, and you have to go out. You have to get things here and there from time to time. And every time I meet people outside, they feel surprised. And I don't know if it's the way I treat people or what, that they can be treated so kindly. And I don't know if it's because I'm white, maybe in a black neighborhood, that sometimes people are thinking, why are you treating me like a friend? You know? But I'm having a wonderful experience every day with people and with the abilities Krishna is giving me to be able to communicate and share friendship with people. I don't know how to put it into words sometimes, how thankful I am, you know, to be able to have this experiential time in life that I never in my imagination would have believed possible. Love is a very wonderful thing, and there are those who are not experiencing it. And so what we can do is pray and hope that we can reach as many of them as we can. So, Surabhiji, Hare Krishna. Grant Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.